Hey guys, Tom here. Today I'm going to be talking about what I hate about being a software engineer. So it mainly comes down to the fact that coding has always been a hobby of mine. But before we get into the specifics, I'd love to hear what your hobbies are outside of coding. The weirder the better, so post them in the comment section below and I'll have a read through them. Now I don't want to get into the story of how I got into coding, that's a whole nother video. But it essentially stems from the fact that I've always loved building things, I've always wanted to have the ability to build things. Now I have a Joplin book right now, which is just a piece of software, and I have literally over 100 ideas in it. I think I counted 106 maybe 4 or 5 days ago. Now I know most of those are garbage, like 95% of them, but the reality is they exist and I want to try and build as many of them as possible. So as a hobby, I love coding, and I find that in my spare time I spend most of it working on my side projects. It's the thing I love to do. And there's been a bunch of times, I'm sure we've all been there, where we've wanted to quit software engineering, maybe look for a different job. But the truth is, no matter how many times I've quit and been like, oh, I'm done with this, I'm bored of this, I always end up coming back to it. So I know it's my passion, and the main reason I always come back is because I have all these things I know that I want to build. So here's the thing that bothers me though about being a software engineer. Coding is my passion, but it's also my job, right? So I spend 8 hours a day plus looking at trash code, debugging it, writing code. So our screen time is already at 8 hours just on a base standard day. On top of that, I also do YouTube, which is another hobby of mine, which is easily another 2 hours a day. Then when your job is coding and your passion slash hobby is coding, you end up spending the 8 hours a day coding and then after work coding also. And I think for me it just feels like, and I know this is in my own control and we have control of our lives and we can do whatever we want, but coding is my skill, you know, it's how I create value in the world, it's the path I've chosen to go down. But sometimes I do wish that coding was something I just did as a hobby, rather than a hobby and a job, because it just becomes this thing where you spend your whole life in front of a screen. I mean, just sit there for yourself and estimate how many hours a day you spend in front of a screen, and then what proportion of your year you spend on a screen, and then what proportion of your life you spend in front of a screen. Now, I'm not saying screens are bad, and computers are amazing. They're amazing tools, and you can also play games as well. And that's the other thing, right? Then, especially through like lockdown and COVID, the only way you sort of interact with your friends is through screens, on games and stuff. So I don't know how you guys feel. For me, it becomes a bit much, especially recently, you know, where you're spending 15 hours a day in front of screens and you're like, what's the point of any of this if we spend our whole life in front of screens? So recently I've been trying to go out a lot more, but I guess, yeah, so I went to Bristol this weekend, that was really nice. So I'm not making this video to moan, and I probably have it better than a lot of people. And the reality is the pros probably outweigh the cons, because, you know, I essentially get paid to develop my skills, which then in turn make me better and or faster at developing my side projects. But the truth is, it just gets to me, you know, when you spend every moment of your life in front of a computer screen, and then you actually go out and see that there's like a whole world out there where you can do nice things. So my kind of advice is, if you're really passionate about software engineering and maybe you're a bit entrepreneurial, probably the best thing you can actually do is just go work in a completely unrelated field, rather than being a software engineer for some company that you have no passion for. So I think that's good advice, probably. It depends. It depends on what you want to do, of course. Do you love the act of coding itself, or do you actually like coding because you like building things? And is it because you specifically like building your own ideas? Because if you like building your own ideas, you might not necessarily like coding, it's just coding is the only way to sort of achieve those goals. So really think about what you want there, I suppose. So jumping back to what we were talking about, the reality is I spend 10 to 16 hours per day in front of some type of screen. You know, it might be a computer screen, a mobile screen, or just watching some television. And it's not a great lifestyle. I do go to the gym as well, and I do try and go for walks and stuff, but still it's not really to me what being a human is all about, spending your whole life in front of a computer screen. I think we need to do other things too. So find a hobby, and maybe, just maybe, if you love coding and you have some project you want to build, don't also become a full-time software engineer, because it's a lot, at least for me sometimes. But further, I wanted to add, if you get a lot of job satisfaction from being a software engineer, just like the innate act of coding, then it's obviously a great path. If you don't care about building side projects or maybe, yeah, something like that, then it's great, because you can leave your work at work, and then in your spare time you can go and do whatever it is you do, which again, let me know in the comments below, whatever that is. But as I said, guys, on average, I do think the pros of being a software engineer outweigh the cons. I do love it like 80% of the time, just sometimes it gets too much. But of course, when you're a software engineer, you get paid to become better, you get paid to develop your skills, and you do get to build some cool things for other companies that are trying to do cool things for people. So that's nice too. Yeah. But pretty much the TLDR, or TLDW, I guess in this case, of the video is that my screen time is way higher than I would like it to be. And this video is mainly about that. It's probably less to do with the fact that I don't like software engineering. I do love it, but it's like, you know, 2 hours on YouTube, 8 hours at work, then another 2 hours on side projects or something, then watching TV, or relaxing on your mobile, playing games with your friends. It's just crazy. Like, my suggestion is go become a mushroom farmer or something. So that's personally what I find tough. I'd love to hear sort of the perspective of you guys watching, what you think about being a software engineer. In particular, I'm interested in those people who sort of also have coding as their hobby. Do you find it quite easy to balance? Just let me know what you think, give me some thoughts, and thanks for watching. Leave a like, subscribe for more videos. Yeah, thanks for watching.